Okay, this lesson for the Cornet Project class, it will address the text John chapter 5, verse 24, a reply from a Dr. Michael Stanley, a great laborer in the Word, a scholar, if you will, by any measure. So he asked about this text. So I thought, well, let's look at it. I know we have a text about it or a video, but have so much to do today, leaving for a funeral in a few moments. So we'll go ahead and do this one. Amen. Amen. This is truly, truly Lego. I am saying to you all that a lot of this is very repetitive. To you all, that, OT, that, the one, and then ton logon, mu of me, eke is already having, wait a minute, ton logon, I've jumped to a finite verb. Well, we'll just erase that. Okay, me, it's akuon. Okay, so it says truly, truly. Let me write this down. Helps me remember it. I'm trying to freehand this. Truly, truly, I am saying to you all that the, and then this is the word, and that, so the word of me, So the article goes here, the one who is listening, who is hearing. Then we have Kai. That is, because there's no definite article following this. There we go. That is pistuon. That is believing. That is believing. Notice the ing there. That is believing. And then we have to in the one. To, notice Yoda subscript, in the one. And then it's a very common word, pimpsati. There we go. In the one who sent me, me, who sent me. Then it's eke, is already having, zoane, life, ionion, life eternal. Oh, me, life eternal. Kai, and into judgment, ace, into creason, judgment, erketai, he will not, of course, the ook goes there. I'll put it over here. Ook. Notice the kappa before the epsilon. He will not be coming into judgment, Allah, but rather, and this is what's interesting, where I'd like to call your attention to, but rather, this word here, well, let me go over here and make sure we have plenty of room so we can all appreciate this. Meta, bacon, sounds like bacon. And you notice there's I don't know, that doesn't look right. Meta, bacon, I think that's, here we go. maybe an epsilon. We'll look at that over in just a moment. But this is a perfect active indicative. It says, but rather has previously, past, and then ek, out from, to thanatou, out from the death, ace, into tain, zoane. Now, into the life. Now, I won't take the time because I literally am leaving in a few minutes to travel for a few hours to go to a funeral of a dear family, a member of a dear family in our congregation. So, like you all who pastor, apologetics is used to help teach people. But notice this, the previous has previously passed out from the death into the life. Previously, now when was that? You remember that the Father sent the prophets, and prophets came and they preached. In Luke 16:31, just call your attention back to that. Jesus taught that since they are not listening to Moses and the prophets, then they would not be persuaded, though one were to rise from the dead. First of all, you notice believing here previously, this goes back to the moment they believed. Yeah, this goes back to the moment when they believed. Believe, finite verb. Remember our lesson in John 20:31, where you have believe and believing in the same text. You won't find an occasion of believing that isn't first presupposed by that simple form of action, believe. Thus, Jesus says at the moment previously when these believed, because he said they're already having life eternal and into judgment, he will not be coming, but rather he has previously passed and remains past, and that's out from the death into the life already. We're already here now. So this is a point that to help some of you understand why is it so easy if we are scripted by the inflectional morphemes, kind of action, the time of that, what antedates it or what is antecedent to it. Now, I didn't say learning the Koine, anyone in one language learning a different one. It's an effort, but look what we have from it. So now again, we have this previously past. So these people are already out from it. And the indication is that they are listening, hearing, that is believing in the one who sinned. That's the Father. And go look at Luke 16:31, where we have a form of the word patho, persuade. You'll always have persuade first. You remember we have in 1 Peter 4:17, persuasion by the gospel. And it literally says the gospel of the God. Now, the God, that's referring to the Father of Jesus. The Father of Jesus Christ. So there we have persuasion. John 3:36. We talked about those who were negating, that negative particle, negating, apathon. Again, see path there. You see it here. You can look all this up in your blue letter. Negating, the one negating persuasion. By the Son. And of course, this here was the same thing. They were negating. So here we have two events here where that which precedes faith was being negated. So persuasion by the gospel, that's the gospel of the grace of God. And a person who negates the gospel is rejecting the one of whom it speaks. Jesus said, you all are searching the scriptures for in them you think you're having life or supposing to be having life, but they are they which point to me, but you will not. That is, you aren't desiring. They were able, but were unwilling. So they had negated persuasion. And John the Baptist said this in John 3:36. Jesus said in John 6:47, the one who is already believing into me is already having life. And the reason why I said, because they already at that moment, simple form of action, believe. So remember, you'll never have the occasion of believing that's not presupposed by belief, simple form of action. That's why whatever simple action, and you can, if you need to speak academically, you can say aorist tense, and then this continuous kind is present tense. And then it's also a noun as well, as in 1 John 5:1. That's the closest I've seen someone try to use the grammar to show that a person is first born again, then they believe, and that's not quite correct. That wouldn't be the text you'd want to go to. That's actually the one that proves just the otherwise. And then in Galatians 2:16, and I'll end on that, where Paul said, as ones who have noticed and continue to notice that no kind of man is justified out from any kind of works of any kind of law except through faith of Jesus Christ, faithfulness, demonstrably speaking, even we ourselves believed. So he pointed to the gospel. That is the gospel, that no kind of man is justified out from any kind of works of law except out from the faithfulness of Jesus Christ. That is the gospel. So that causal participle from ado, and it's translated knowing in our Bible, knowing, that is demonstrably indicative of how persuasive the gospel is, because this is a causal participle. So the power to believe is in the gospel. We're fathered through the gospel. 1 Corinthians 4:15. 4:15. 1 Corinthians. Fathered through the gospel, persuaded by the Son. Paul said here, this insight into this gospel was so compelling and persuasive that this is a causal participle functioning adverbially. That is why he believed, and he gave his rationale. The gospel is why he believed into Jesus Christ. So Galatians 2:16 says it so clearly. So have a blessed day, and you point out, you can look at the mistakes and correct this if you like. I'll move out of the way so you can get a good picture, but that's a really good text. I'm glad Dr. Stanley referenced it for me, and I'm glad I had a few moments to place that up there for you. So have a blessed day.